Looky here, looky here, looky here. Looks like old Franz and Buddy might not have been so wrong after all. What a remarkable performance today, but not by just one of the good teams, acknowledged now as the best team in America. They've only got to prove it. 2 down and 7 to go. Franz Beard, what a showing today. Beating up, I felt sorry for Alabama almost. It was ugly. And this team is just, I've said this before and I tweeted it today, and you agree with me on this, and you've probably been saying the same thing a long time ago. This team has not yet played its best basketball. Guess what? They're starting to.
They're going to kick butt. I tell you what, there is not a team in the country, and this is the part that kills me. Joe Lunardi and Jerry Palm, both of whom I think were dropped on their heads too many times when they were infants.
Those are your boys.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Both of them saying, well, the Florida-Alabama winner should lock up the number 4 seed. Come on, give me a break. Auburn has lost, 3 of their last 4 games or 4 of their last 5, something like that. And got punked today by a team that, quite frankly, they did have a little help from Pat Adams, who kept Tennessee, shooting free throws. I think Florida should take make sure that they haven't got enough liniment for their elbows after as many free throws as they shot in the second half. But Auburn, South Carolina, not South Carolina, Duke, are you kidding me? And then you got Houston. I've been watching Houston and Arizona. Houston is Texas A&M part deux. It's like, okay, let's throw a rock fight and see if we can, see if we can get people to watch it on TV. And my gosh, and they, I get sick of hearing what a wonderful human being Kelvin Sampson is. Every place he's ever been went on probation. Houston hasn't yet, but that doesn't mean he hasn't cheated, because it's in his blood, it's in his DNA. His dad was a cheater at Red Springs. I know that.
Franz, my dear friend Franz, I love you to death. This is a time for celebration. The Florida Gators just beat the crap out of Alabama.
Yes, they did.
Them.
Yes, they did.
And now it looks like they're on their way to a mission.
And then you got these idiots like Joe Lunardi and Jerry Palm saying Florida is the number 4 team.
What can't you see? What can't they see in front of their eyes?
Well, I don't know. No, other than the fact that everybody seems to believe that we must pay homage to Duke. Everybody thinks that we must pay homage, give Kelvin Sampson a Lifetime Achievement Award. This guy who's coaching Florida can outcoach all 3 of these guys.
And by the way, Michigan State got beat today too. Another team I was worried about.
Yes, so Tom Izzo, another one of these guys that they're trying to give Lifetime Achievement Awards. If they could, I guarantee you, these guys, if they had their way, they would put Duke, Houston, and Michigan State in the final, in 3 of the Final 4, and then let everybody else compete for the 4th spot.
Yeah, our buddy Rob will be here in a minute. I don't think he's a happy boy today, but here's the thing: this didn't take a genius to figure it out. Even I figured this out. When you got that many good players and you play a long season and you get banged around like these guys bang around. By the way, these athletes are, if you compare them to Dr. Naismith's era, these guys are monsters. They're fast, they're athletic, they're good, they're huge, and they're playing the same size court. And they're going to bang in. What do they say? Basketball is not a contact sport; it's a collision sport, and it is what it is. It's a difficult game to referee, I'm sure. But the thing is that this team is long, fast, athletic, can shoot, can defend, can rebound, and do everything. And you see their long bench, friends, is going to come into play.
Well, having 10 guys does pay off, buddy, because and here's why. As we saw, a lot of teams like, Alabama all of a sudden is handicapped because they get a guy in foul trouble and they don't have any more size in there. Florida, okay, Condon Rubin gets 2, fine, we put in Handlockton. He gets 2, fine, we put in Hawk. And they get Sam Alexis back next week. That's another 5 fouls they've got.
Well, I forgot about that. That guy can play too, by the way. He can play.
Yeah. You got 25 fouls in the paint.
Yeah.
You got 25 guys to protect the rim. 25 fouls worth of protecting in the rim.
Mm-hmm.
5 rim protectors, 25 fouls. And Micah, what a game he had today. Talk about a guy
getting better and better.
Buddy, remember when he came back and I told you this guy would be the key? This guy would be the missing link. He's proving it now.
Yes,
he is the missing link because he comes in there today and he gets 4 points. He only had 4 points, but he only took I think what was it, 2 shots the whole game. But he has 10 rebounds. Okay. He had a block shot, he had a steal, but he had a lot of hands on the ball. This is one of the things that you overlook about this Florida team.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things that don't show up in the stats, getting a hand in a passing lane that knocks the ball away.
Sometimes
that takes 2 or 3 seconds off your shot clock, and all of a sudden, not every team has a Walter Clayton Jr. who's going to typically, he'll get his shot off no matter what. Things like that. You get these guys getting hands in the passing lanes, disrupting the offense, taking guys out of their rhythm. Will Richard today, twice, I remember. Guy's on the dribble, and he just knocks the ball away. Guy has to retrieve it. All of a sudden, the drive he was planning, suddenly he can't. It's gone down the drain. His whole thing is disrupted, and he thought he had a fresh avenue to go down to get a layup.
Mm-hmm.
This is what good defense is all about. Forget that.
I'll tell you what, good defense. Look at Mr. Sears' body today. He got the crap beat out of him. They shut him down. Sears is a good player, and they hammered him. He ate that basketball for lunch quite a few times, and when you shut the star player down, you can do something. And he's a good player now. I got to tell you, he's good. He can shoot, he can handle. But you're right. The one thing I want to talk about are the nuances, the things you see this team do, like getting their hands in the passing lane is one. They have an ability to launch a shot from anywhere, anytime. Yeah. They can shoot the basketball from the concession stand, and they get it off so fast, so quick. I love how they go to the post when they have to get points. My gosh, the talent they got on that team, and now they're shooting their free throws well. I'll get to that, Brendan. We'll talk about Ernie in just a minute. So it's it's an amazing bunch of, and you're right. We could go down. I was thinking what I would list if I listed the 10 things I like the best about this team, including the way the team is coached. It's been fun to watch. They like each other. They defend. They shoot. They run the court like a bunch of gazelles, and they're just and they can and they're defensively they can eat you alive, and they do that. Ernie Sports Media. I want to talk about that for a second. Franz, you got to publicly endorse Ernie's as your official brackets. These are our partners. These are guys that do this on a national level. They've chosen us to represent them here in Florida and to let people know that you can actually win money here. I don't like the ESPN brackets. They drive me nuts. If you want a bracket, this is our official bracket right here for this program, Babe Martin Show, for Franz Beard, and for the GatorBaitMedia.com. The brackets are right here. Check it out. What we're trying to do is we've got a little rivalry thing going with Auburn. Maybe we'll have Rob on here in a minute, and to see who can get the most fans on these brackets. You could win $5,000 on this thing.
Donna or Donna Perry?
Okay, it's all right. I hear your phone ringing. It happens sometimes. So Ernie's, go to Ernie's Sports Media, go Ernie.com and get this information. Or just go to this QR code right here. There it is. Just go to the QR code and take a picture of it and follow it out. Easy to fill out. You got your bracket set, and you want to worry about it come Wednesday of next week, and you'll be with them. We're going to be joining you, and Franz is going to give us some tips on the brackets next week. Help us fill out our brackets. So back to the Gators, on fire, playing great basketball, fun to watch. And I hate to think, now, I don't want to jinx them against Tennessee because Tennessee is a good defensive team, I will say. My word, Tennessee better look out. Alabama got shamed today. They looked like they didn't belong in the SEC. They got shamed. They were absolutely ripped apart. Missouri gave them a much better game than Alabama did. So this team can make you look bad, and boy, they are really, really good. And I don't know which player I like the most. I've mentioned before who all I like, but they just keep showing up. Denzel Aberdeen showed up at the right time today, didn't he?
Well, he's a player. There's no question about it. What makes this team so good is they've got interchangeable parts. You look at this, the guys that played, we played 9 guys played 10 or more, played 13 or more minutes today. Okay.
That's a lot.
Well, it is because Walter Clayton Jr. only played 30 minutes.
Richard got hurt. Right? Richard stayed out for 10 minutes.
Richard played 29. Reuben played 16. Elijah Martin 27. Condon 25. But then you look at this. Denzel played. Tommy Hawk played 24. Micah played 14. Urban Clauser 13. Denzel Aberdeen 19. You got enough guys playing that you can get rest. Florida, this is a 3-day marathon, okay? And this is the one thing I know a lot of people say we need to do away with conference tournaments. But I'll tell you what a conference tournament does for you. It makes you ready and toughens you up for what's to come. And there's nothing like it for getting you ready, because after you handle having to play 3 games in 3 days against 3 ranked teams, 15, then 6 today, and tomorrow it's going to be 8. That's where Tennessee is. But you look at this, and you've got 3 quality teams that rank in the top, among the best in the country, and you've beaten them. You've beaten Alabama for a second time this year, a 4th consecutive time. Nobody beats Nate Oates 4 straight times. Todd Golden's done it.
Yeah.
And
you mentioned I don't mean to interrupt your friend, but you mentioned Tommy Hoff. My goodness gracious, what a tool they have in your toolbox. Comes off the bench yesterday and knocks down how many foul shots he made yesterday.
Yesterday was 10 for 12.
Yeah, and he goes to the hole like a guard, and he can take the ball to the hole and shoot and get open and get in that crease. And he rebounds with a vengeance, and he can shoot the 3, and he can pass the ball. Yeah. That guy, and he's got not good enough to be the 6th man, I guess. But that guy is I could make a case for him maybe being the MVP, except for Walter. But, he is really amazing, Tommy Hawk.
We didn't mention this last night, but it had to be kind of satisfying. Caleb Grill is supposed to be the SEC 6th man of the year. Mm-hmm. And I think he ended up scoring like 8 points last night. Meanwhile, here is Tommy Hawk, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block shot. Look at him today, filling up the stat sheet again. 11 points. He only took 7 shots, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a block shot, and who knows how many other real plays that he made. He defended so well today.
Yeah.
My goodness, that had to be sweet for him. Elijah Martin, who gets left off the all-defensive team. Look what he did to Jacob Cruz yesterday. Jacob Cruz, was left on the side of the road, in the tall weeds by Elijah Martin with the defense that he played on him last night. And Elijah Martin, we don't talk enough about what this guy contributes. 16 points today, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. By the ash, these guys are just doing it, buddy. These guys are just flat out doing it.
I keep thinking it's going to come to an end. That, okay, it's just a dream. Well, okay, they played good for a while, but now it's over, and the bubble's going to burst. But as I said in my tweet today, these guys are just playing their best basketball now. And like you mentioned, Handlow, how much better can he be? And even on when you have your scorers have a bad night or whatever. So I think it's a case of not wanting to get too full of yourself here, because that's a heady win today after beating Alabama like they did. And right now it's when you want to be hungry. And that's the thing about the criticism and lack of respect as working a good thing for good karma for Todd Golden and his team, because they're not giving them all this stuff. They made them just earn every last second of what they got. And when they become the number 1 seed, and they will, I predict they'll beat Tennessee by 10 and do that. Then they'll be number 1 seed. Then people begin to believe, okay, well, maybe those Gators are pretty good now. A lot of the national announcers, I will say, they've come aboard in the last couple of weeks. Florida's the best team. Florida's the best team, yeah. But you still got to go earn it. You got to win it. Franz, what are the things you like about this basketball team other than the obvious? We mentioned that they put their hands in the lane. We mentioned they defend, they shoot, they run the court. We mentioned that they play, they're together. What are the tangibles, intangibles, the things that we don't see? You're a much wiser basketball person than we are, that you think that people should pay attention to.
The assistant coaches and how Todd lets them coach.
Good point.
There's not a lot of coaches that really let their assistants coach. I mean, Carlin Hartman was in charge of the scouting for Alabama today, and tremendous job, absolute tremendous job in this. Let me see what the paint difference was. Florida scored 42 points in the paint on Alabama. My goodness, out-rebounded them, killed them on the boards. This game was decided on the first possession of the second half when Florida launches. It didn't matter that they missed all 4 shots. They kept getting the rebound and getting more shots. Mm-hmm. And Alabama's goose was cooked from that moment on, because Florida absolutely was, you could tell the Gators were going, if they made a couple of shots, they were going to destroy them, and they did.
And yet, even sometimes there were cases, probably going to interrupt you, there were cases where they got 3 to 4 offensive boards and couldn't get it back in, and somehow Alabama got the ball. And imagine if they converted those. There was a couple of times they got 3 to 4 rebounds and then get the stick back,
But Betty, they do this, and people don't give Todd enough credit as well for having the faith in his bench that when they had the injuries, and we had a string of injuries, this is one of the reasons why I say that Jerry Palm and Lenardi, I don't know what they've been drinking, but they've been drinking something, because all you got to do is look at the fact which team had the injury issues that Florida had. You play a ranked team without Walter Clayton, and that was Vanderbilt at the time.
Yeah.
You play 3 games without Elijah Martin. You play 3 games without Alex Condon. You play, 25 games, 20-something games without Micah Handlogton? Nobody's had to deal with the adversity that Florida's had to. And yet you look, Florida's got 10 guys who've scored in double figures.
Yeah, a lot of people want to know about, and I'm reluctant to start talking in contract now. Let's enjoy the season, about locking up Coach Coach Golden, and I say let's worry about that after this.
Whatever we're paying him,
Yeah.
it isn't double it, and it's
Well, he's
still
not even.
enough.
He's in the lower half in salary. We looked it up, and he was the lower half.
Double it, and he's still worth more than that.
Yeah. So I mean, realistically, and you're looking at probably $6 million with a quick escalation to $7 million at some point in time, and then maybe even more. So I don't know, but they're not going to lose him. They cannot. And to think how this season started off. First of all, the athletic director was in trouble. Scott Strickland's in trouble and everything. And then we get the bad news about this so-called Title IX case against Todd Golden. That didn't look good. And now there are people that start rattling cages and say, I got to fire someone. I got to fire Strickland. And now they're sitting here with this wonderful team. And Franz, I'm going to make a case for this not just being maybe the best basketball team. This is one of the best teams I have ever seen at Florida, period, in any sport.
They're really good, aren't they? And the thing that I love is they're so much fun to watch. Did you see Bennett Anderson score with a couple, less? I think it was like 19 seconds to go. Here's a walk-on who scores, and the bench erupts. You would have thought that this walk-on had just hit the game-winning shot against somebody. The way our guys are dancing and hugging each other. Yeah, I mean, when you have a walk-on that's that important, that your entire team erupts on his behalf over something as simple as a layup in a game that's already, 25 points ago was decided. That tells you something about the team. And you were asking before about things that we don't see.
Yes.
Camaraderie on this team is second to none. This is what is called trust. I'm listening to Bruce Pearl on the sideline telling, trust him. Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Here's what I take from hearing him there. Florida, those guys, you look at them all, they trust each other. That's why Denzel Aberdeen can come in and start 3 or 4 ball games and score and play like he's been there the whole time. That's why Tommy Hawk, start him, bring him off the bench, doesn't matter. The trust these guys have in each other is unbelievable. That's why Will Richard can score 0 in one game and come back and get 35 the next.
Yeah.
It's
next 2.
You cannot overemphasize what trust will do for a team.
Yeah.
You've had the close relationships with Spurrier and with Urban and Ray Graves before that. You've had the close relationships with a lot of coaches. Dan Reeves out there Dan Reeves and Mike Shanahan out there when you were in Denver. You've had these close relationships. You know what it takes, that when a coach trusts his guys, it permeates to the team.
Yeah.
And they start trusting each other. And you end up with something that all the words in the English language can't describe. I can't describe what the feeling of trust is.
I think it's called believing in somebody. Believing in somebody, what it's like to have someone believe in you. You take Jack Hairston. One of the things about him as a writer, he believed in you as a youngster.
Yeah, he did.
It just makes you better when someone believes in you. And when your coach truly does believe in you, as Spurrier showed his players, especially his quarterbacks, that's what makes the difference. What I'd like you to do right now, which is we have so many people on here looking and clicking the QR code, is talk to me about what's ahead for this team. I know we're guessing. We won't know until what time is the selection show tomorrow?
I think it's at 6:00 tomorrow.
All right, we won't know where they're going. You think it might be Raleigh first?
Well, I think here's the thing that I
want to know what they can do and who stands in their way. Go ahead.
Here's what I'm convinced of one thing. Florida is the number 1 seed and should be. Florida should be I mean, I don't disagree that Auburn should be one of the top 4 seeds, but Auburn should be going west. If you're going to send somebody out to San Francisco and you're convinced that Duke and Houston are the second and third best teams, then have the guts to put the number 1 team, the best team, have the guts to put the best team at number 1, which would mean put Florida in there going to Lexington or Raleigh, and then going to Atlanta for the regional.
Sweet 16?
Yeah, the Sweet 16 would be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Why not have the guts to do that? And of course, here's the thing: Lenardi and Jerry Palm only speculate. We have an NCAA selection committee, and I gotta hope that they got people with more sense than Lenardi and Jerry Palm, who are going to put the Florida Gators somewhere where they belong. Let me see what the net rankings are as of right now.
While you're doing that, I'll just say thank you, folks, for your comments. Appreciate them. Go jump on there and give us your thoughts. We'll be here another 10 minutes or so. And click that QR code top right. Find out about Ernie's. It's a special group of people. We've joined forces with them. They have our official brackets now. We're having a contest to see how many Gator fans can join the brackets and trying to beat other schools like Auburn. Because if your team wins the championship, you get to bring the Ernie's Award, the Ernie's Cup, to your town for the whole year. And we would put it in some place like Spurs Gridiron Grill and celebrate that championship too. You get a chance to celebrate your national. So click the QR code, be a part of it. Franz is going to be repping them next week on the road, the tournament. Franz, what day you leave? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Depends on where they're playing.
We're going, that's true. San Francisco will be on,
Yeah, if they're playing in a Thursday game, we're going to have to leave on Tuesday. If they're playing on a Friday game, we can leave on Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. You go ahead. I didn't mean to throw you off. I'm just saying, let's talk about what's ahead. Now, the draw, how much will that matter?
Oh, it always matters. But
if you're number 1 seed, you get a pretty good position.
Well, you're going to play a number 16 anyway, whether you're the 1, 2, 3, or 4 among the group that's number 1. You're going to be playing a number 1, a number 16. But where you play can make all the difference in the world. For example, going to, I'll give you a good example. John Calipari right now, Joe Lenardi has Arkansas going to Lexington to play their first round game. You think I think that was going to amount to a home game for Arkansas, because I know a lot of people were upset with Cal when he left. But the man made a lot of goodwill. You saw all the stuff he did, for example, when there were floods, when there were fires, when there were all kinds of disasters, tornadoes in Kentucky. He donated millions of his own money and raised millions. The man created a lot of goodwill. You put Arkansas as a number 10 and you put them in Lexington, you tell me that won't make a difference? You put Duke, which they're planning to do, in Raleigh. That's a home game for Duke. I mean, Raleigh, where that arena is I think 8 miles from the Duke campus. You tell me, they say, well, we're not going to give anybody a home court. That's why Kentucky isn't going to get to play a game at Rupp. But my gosh, do you think that that's fair to put Duke in Raleigh? Oh, it matters where you play. Yeah, it really does matter where you play. I would personally, even though the trip is farther away, I would like to see Florida play in Lexington, and here's why I would prefer. It is an SEC city, okay? And I realize Raleigh's probably amounts to about 150 miles or so closer, but Raleigh's an ACC town. Put the Gators in an SEC town.
Yeah,
That's why I say put the Gators in. They're the best team in the country. Put them where they're going to wind up in Atlanta, because that's an SEC town too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, so as we wrap up this thing, by the way, here's a note of someone that appreciates the mention of Jack, your good friend, and we appreciate people remembering that. He was special to all of us. I worked for Jack as well, as you know.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody who's over the age of 60 who's still riding, I mean, at one point in time worked for Jack. I mean,
if you are riding, you probably are over 60.
and let me throw something out since you brought up Jack. I'm looking at today, and I'm looking at they're on press row. There's Pat Forty, who you had a hand in his career. You know, I look at guys all up and down the spectrum who have written. You've helped a lot of careers in your life, Bud Light, and you never get enough credit for that, because you've always been a great evaluator of talent. We got our girl up there in Green Bay right now covering the Packers, who basically was obscure. You got we got a girl up there covering Auburn, another one that you discovered, and those are just recent ones. But it's been you've been at this a little longer than I have, and I've been at it for 60 years. So.
Yeah, you might get pretty good at it pretty soon. Well, I thank you for that, Franz. You know how much it means to me. I'm so thrilled to see people that have worked with us and gotten a little better because of just osmosis, to getting a chance to go out and prove how good they are, to show why we believed in them to begin with. It's not about me or what I did. It's just giving people a chance.
Laura Rutledge. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, well, that's Brendan. They got to give Brendan the credit for Laura.
Well, Brendan did, but you had the show. Brendan discovered her, but you had the show.
He produced it. He produced it.
And you gave her the shot.
Well, I thank you that, friends. And while we're passing out compliments, I just want to say how proud I am of you. And what you've done. Your work has held up, and you are just about the best basketball writer in the universe. I read your stories in the morning. I get the thrill out of reading what you guys say. And you put it in perspective, and, you know, okay, so you're leaning a little bit more toward Florida. So what? That's the team you cover, you know? And you're usually right. Like, I learned my lesson with you when I went into the national championship game against Ohio State. And I told the story 1,000 times. You goes, buddy, they're going to beat Ohio State. I said, friends, don't be a homer. No, they're going to beat them. They're really going to beat them because they're so much quicker. And you brainwashed me for a couple of days. Where were we? At Camelback?
Yeah.
So you kept on with me, and so finally, I woke up at 2:00 in the morning to use the facility, kick something with furniture with my leg, and said something on a word I shouldn't have, and I realized I had picked Ohio State. I said, I'm going to go back and change my pick. And I went back. That was the night before the game. And I changed my pick at 2:00 in the morning.
You were my next door neighbor there. Yeah. There at that place.
Camelback, Camelback.
You know, I look back on that, and it's a simple thing. I watched the film. The video.
Well, you're a student of the game. You're students of the game. You learn the game.
I watched the video of every Ohio State game.
I know you did.
And I talked to and then what sealed it for me was Greg Madison telling me. He says, you know, in that gruff voice, he says, "You watch Stephen Harris." He said, "He might hit that center so damn hard he sacks his own quarterback." The play that people go back to that say really decided the game. 4th down, this much to go. It's still a game that Ohio State can get back into. Late in the second quarter, Stephen Harris hits the All-American center, and he makes the Heisman Trophy quarterback Troy Smith go back 3 extra feet to hand the ball off, giving our guys the time. Brandon Spikes is one of the guys that was there. We had a bunch of them that were there to make that stop, but they stopped him short. And why? Because the scouting report that was there from our assistant coach, Urban let his assistant coach's coach. Another case of that. Like I said about Todd Golden, he lets his assistant coach's coach. There's something.
I wish I knew who those guys were. I see him talking to several different players. I know one guy, but I don't know the rest of them. I think, who are these guys? And they're all, it's funny how they sit there now. There's like 10 of them all in the same kind of shirt. It's crazy. I mean,
John Andrzejczyk is the assistant head coach, and Corey McRae, the other assistant head coach. Kevin Hovde.
Means nothing to me. I have no idea who they are.
Kevin Hovde is kind of the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Carlin Hartman is kind of the big man guy and the defensive
Hartman's the guy that's going to be the head coach soon someplace.
He needs to be.
Yeah.
What a great guy. And Torian Green works with those guards. All 5 of those guards get the benefit of working with a guy that Torian doesn't get enough credit, by the way. And I'll throw this in before I go finish what I'm saying. Florida wins the back-to-back national championships. The one player who never fouled out, who never missed a game because of injury, Torian Green. If he fouls out or misses a game, it would have been all over. But this guy who brings that kind of experience works with these guards. And everybody keeps saying, Florida's got the best guards in the country. Well, look who's working with them. They ought to be. Yeah. And, it works into this one great big thing. You got a big mixing bowl here and and this isn't like the way I cook, which is, there's a bottle of this. I'll just squirt some of this in here and see how it works out. And, my cooking is all based on just how much I got and what I can reach and grab. Todd Golden has real ingredients that he works with, and it's very precise what he does.
Let me tell you, jump in. I don't mean to interrupt your friends, but I got to tell you what I'm remembering this. I did come back to you and finish that up. I want to thank our sponsors. We're not giving them any messages tonight. First of all, don't forget the earnings. Get that QR code and join them. Titan MRI Imaging, as well as our friends at I'm drawing a blank. You can probably say it better than I can. Let's see. We've got Titan. We've got I should get my list out. I'm butchering this.
Jeffrey.
No, we got Meldon Law. Sorry about that, Jeffrey. He joins us, and of course our friends in there in Ocala, who do a great job with this for us. I'm sputtering. Go ahead, Franz. Finish up. I'll get the
our friends at Renstar
Medical Research. I'm sorry, folks. My brain is sputtering right now. I've got a big storm coming down on top of me, right here in the way of this big, heavy tornadoes coming tonight. Anyway, yeah. So go ahead and finish up. I'll let you sign off on those, friends, and wrap it up. And if you got a box score, read what they got and who I know who the high scores were, but basically the 3 guards. Give us a wrap up on the game, and we'll finish up.
Well, this was a game that Florida's backcourt scored 54 points. Florida scored 104. The backcourt scored 54. Walter Clayton, 6 for 11 from the 3-point line. My gosh, look at what these guys did. They were 12 for 14 from the foul line. They had 9 assists between the 3 of them. They had 9 rebounds. And then you come off the bench with Denzel Aberdeen, who scored 11. Urban Klavzar, who had added 4, but had a couple of rebounds, a couple of assists too. And then of course, then you got the big guys, and Alabama couldn't compete with Florida's big guys. Florida's got it going, guys. You got 10 deep. Nobody else can go 10 deep in the entire country. The Gators, if they keep their focus and they stay healthy, I think they're going to hoist the big trophy at the end. We're going to hear one shining moment, and they're going to be hoisting the big trophy. And what a great job Todd Golden has done, and yeah, you think about I don't think we've given Scott Strickland enough credit. Scott Strickland went out there, and within 3 or 4 days after losing Mike White, he's got Todd Golden in here wrapped up. What a great decision that was made. He gave Billy Napier a vote of confidence there and said, "This is my guy." And look what happens to the Gators. They win 4 in a row there at the end of the season, and all of a sudden now people are saying Florida could make the playoff this year. They have a Heisman Trophy guy. They can win it. So
break down tomorrow's game for us.
Okay, it's going to come down to this. Florida can't turn the ball over. You turn the ball over against Tennessee, you lose. Florida has to pound the ball inside. They're going to have to get some calls because Tennessee is going to go in there playing scorched earth. Guarantee you they're going to play scorched earth. They're going to come in there. They're going to try to hit you hard. They're going to try to intimidate you physically. Florida should be able to withstand that. The most important thing is this, though. Don't turn the ball over. Tennessee's going to have to make a decision. Can we cover do we stop the backcourt from scoring? Do we give them the points, or do we shut out the front court guys? I think they're going to try to shut out the backcourt guys, which means that a lot of good passes have to come in down low, and means a lot of fouls, and our guys got to make foul shots.
Give me a score.
I think Florida is going to score 70 plus on Tennessee, and I think Tennessee is going to maybe high 50s, low 60s.
So a 10-point game, 12-point game, 15-point game, whatever.
I would say somewhere in the 7 to 10-point range. Okay. Florida wins the game, simply because Tennessee's very capable of keeping games close. Mm-hmm. And we don't know who's going to call the game. My God, if Pat Adams and Joe Lindsey call the game, I'm going to be calling every minister I know and asking for prayers.
Tennessee's kind of a beat up team right now. They've physically been banged around a bit. So as usual, if you want to read Franz, go to GatorBaitMedia.com and check him out. And I want to say one more time, thanks to Ernie's.com. Yep. Look at the QR code up there. Go and join. Franz is not going to join tomorrow. Probably be doing
fun with the brackets.
So we're going to be in the brackets, and you're going to give us a little coaching. Give us a dark horse along the way. Give us some picks. Also, thanks to our sponsors. I won't get them right this time. Thank you, Robert, for allowing me that brain fart. That's what I had. Melanol, of course, they won't back down. Titan MRI and Imaging, and Renstar Medical Research. Thank you for sponsoring this show. And have a great night. Franz, great job as usual. We'll catch you tomorrow when the Gators go after the SEC championship. It's going to be quite a time. And I, for one, am pretty pumped. I can't tell if you are or not. Franz, are you?
Huh? Oh, I'm excited about it. I mean, hey, the other thing that bothers me about all this is once we get through tomorrow, there's only 3 more weekends of basketball.
We got football, Franz. It's going to be a fun year. We got football. It's going to be fun. Not so much the baseball. Sorry about what happened today, the Gators, but that's it. Have a good one and great stuff, Franz. Talk to you tomorrow. Appreciate it.